Hey gorgeous, welcome back to another Sims 4 speed building video. I hope you're all doing well. So today we're back doing another speed build, obviously. If you've missed last video, that one was a little bit different. I did an overview of my save file as it is currently. So today we're actually kicking off the second phase of the save file, if you will. So I basically finished Willow Creek completely. I've made all new houses and develop the storylines for the townies, and you can actually download that save file if you're interested, so do check out my previous video. I'll make sure to link it down below as well, so you can have a look at that. But yeah, today we're starting off in New Crest, and I have told this in my last video, but there's quite a few families still in the family bin that I wanted to build houses for, and unfortunately, because in The Sims 4 the worlds are rather small, I didn't have space to put them all in Willow Creek, so I decided to save a couple of those families to make houses for them in New Crest. And I feel like New Crest is kind of an extension of Willow Creek anyway. But I do want to aim to have some different style houses here. So Willow Creek was all very much old looking houses, Victorian looking houses, and I want to have some more newer development projects here in New Crest. So I am aiming for to make some houses in, let's say, craftsman style, as well as some more modern suburban townhouses. I don't think I will be going for ultra modern, like white boxy builds. I might try it and see if I like it, because if you look at the environment in New Crest, you can definitely see that is very much an extension of Willow Creek. So there's a lot of homes that look like Victorian plantations and stuff in the environment, but also some modern builds. But yeah, I basically wanted to switch it up a little bit and, you know, do something different from that classic New Orleans Greek revival American townhouse, because let's be honest, those houses were starting to become a little bit boring, and I've become a little too comfortable with building houses like that. I literally cook them up in like 20 minutes and I have an exterior done, and I wanted to challenge myself a little bit more. And it's been a while since I've done like really classic suburban houses, let's say a little Simsy blue suburban. That's just not really the style that I'm personally a huge fan of, and also a style that I'm not familiar with at all. If you guys don't know, I'm actually from the Netherlands, so I'm not very familiar with American architecture, and houses in the Netherlands look completely different. First of all, the Netherlands is quite densely populated, so all the houses are all very, very close together. Basically everything here, all houses here are row houses. Obviously we have villas and larger houses and farms and stuff like that as well, but most people you will meet, they will live in like row houses, I guess. So these types of suburban houses or craftsman style houses, they're not common here, if they exist at all. I personally don't think I've seen like a classic craftsman style house in the Netherlands before, but you know, maybe you're from the Netherlands and you live in a craftsman style house, do let me know. But yeah, as you can see, apologies, I'm aiming for an American style suburban cottage, I guess. It kind of was giving me cottage feels, and this is actually the house for the Oldie family. So if you don't know, in my previous video, I talked about a couple of families that are currently in the bin, but they are related to the Sims that currently live in my Willow Creek save, and I wanted to build them houses in New Crest. So one of those families is the Oldies, and the Oldies, if you don't know, they are actually the parents of Mary Sue Pleasant, so they are connected to the Pleasant family, and they are the grandparents of Lilith and Angela. So the Oldies consist of two Sims, two elder Sims, Herb and Coral, And this is their little house. So basically, this backstory of these Sims is that they wanted to, stay close to their daughter. They moved to a place that's pretty close to Willow Creek. And I would say that they have a very, very good relationship with Mary Sue. And I also imagine them to have very good relationships with both their granddaughters, so Angela and Lilith, as opposed to their parents, who definitely have a favorite child. They definitely neglected Lilith compared to Angela, but I think the grandparents, they get along with both very, very well. And I think Lilith, who currently lives in San Myshuno, would still love to visit her grandparents here from time to time. But they have a very, very poor relationship to Daniel. And Daniel is the husband of Mary Sue, who is also cheating on her, but she doesn't know, Mary Sue doesn't know that. And also the grandparents don't know that, I suppose, but they can kind of sense that something is off. And I think that's very much a parent thing, right? If your child or if your child is dating someone or marrying someone and they're off, you can kind of sense that about them, I guess. So I feel like Herb and Coral never really got along with Daniel very well. So yeah, that's kind of their backstory. It's not very, very in-depth. I realize that. To be honest, I personally don't really often play with elder Sims, which is not very woke of me, but they stress me out. I don't know. It's so easy to kill them. They get exhausted doing nothing, basically, and they just drop dead. So I don't really play with them that often. And also, if you have mates, elders in Create a Sim, you might know this, because I've made a lot of them to set up all the family trees. They do this weird back cracking thing in Create a Sim, and it's so triggering for me. I don't know what it is, but it makes me feel physically sick. So yeah, I don't really play with elders that often, but I do love building a good grandma cottage from time to time. So that's what I really was aiming for with this build. As you can see, I built a sloped driveway using the tool mod, and I used the garage door from City Living. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. Do let me know if you guys like that. I can still change it if you don't, because I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I like the concept, but I feel like in The Sims 4 it just doesn't work brilliantly, and also a negative is that they don't really have a backyard space. But I fenced in the front yard and I put a little barbecue area there, so I feel like it's kind of okay. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. So here we are, or we have just moved into the interior, and we are working on the kitchen. So I went with a very cottagey feel. Again, I used a lot of cottage living here, and a lot of floral wallpapers as well, to really nail that grandparent aesthetic, if you will. So yeah, I'm sorry guys if I still sound a little bit off. I announced in my last video that I was feeling quite sick, and if I'm honest, that escalated quite a bit. I got some really serious throat inflammation over the past couple of days, and I lost my voice completely. So I'm happy that I have it back right now so I can record this video for you guys. But yeah, I felt really, really sick, and my lymph node in my neck is still completely swollen. So yeah, that's it got pretty bad, but we will do okay eventually. So yeah, here I'm just cluttering up this space. I have to be honest, I was quite struggling with this floor plan. Usually I am very, very particular about my floor plans. I always need to have a little entryway. I hate making houses that walk straight into the living room. Like the only style house that I would do that in is like a shotgun style house, because I feel like that's quite traditional to do it like that. And you know, the houses are so narrow, you don't really have a whole lot of space for a proper entryway. But whenever I do a different style build, like a regular style build, I hate making a house that with an entryway or with a front door going straight into the living room. So, but in this house, as you can see, the front door walks straight into the kitchen, which is a bit strange, I suppose. But if I would look at myself and what I would prefer is, I would prefer to walk. Well, first of all, I would prefer to walk into an entryway because that is what I'm used to in the Netherlands. I think that's also a thing why I don't like houses without entryways. That's because it doesn't really exist in the Netherlands. I mean, I'm sure it does exist. It's just very, very uncommon. Couple of reasons for this. I think the main reason is for isolation. So it can get pretty cold here in the winter. And if someone is at your front door, or you're walking into your own house and you're walking straight into the living room, you lose a lot of that heat. And, you know, that can get very expensive, the energy prices and stuff like that. And another thing is just really a privacy thing. I would absolutely hate it if, you know, just a random salesperson comes at my door and they can just look straight into my living space. So that's why I would prefer a house with an entryway anyway. And that's usually how I build my houses. But in this case, because this house wasn't that big, I opted for a more open concept house. And you walk straight into the kitchen, which I think is still better than walking straight into the living room. It's less of a living space, I feel. Obviously you would spend quite a bit of time there, sitting at the dining table and spending time in the kitchen and whatnot, but it feels less invasive, if that makes sense. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I'm curious how your floor plan looks like. Do you have a proper entryway, or do you have your front door just walking straight into the kitchen or straight into the living room? Let me know. But that is usually something I try and avoid in my houses. But this time I wasn't completely able to. And also I have started to build or I have actually completed another house, and that will be next week's upload. Unfortunately, I'm still not able to upload twice a week at the moment because the month of May is crazy. It's so busy. I literally have something big planned every weekend, and it basically takes all weekend. And I just don't really have a lot of time in the evenings because I just have a daytime job. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so the other house that I built is just like a little starter home. That one also has a more open concept and it doesn't have an entryway. But again, it was so small. I just couldn't really fit it in properly. So yeah, but that is something that I find very important. I'm very, very peculiar or particular. I don't know the difference between those words, about my well, I do know the difference between those words, but yeah, whatever. I want my floor plans to work a specific way, and if I don't like a floor plan, I just don't like the house. So even though I think this floor plan is pretty weird, I still think it works in like a strange way. But anyway, so as you can see, we have moved on to the upstairs. So basically Coral and Herb, they have a bedroom downstairs because I imagine they're a bit older. They don't want to go upstairs so often anymore. So they have a full bathroom downstairs and their own bedroom. And here are just some guest rooms. There's also like a children's room here, which I would imagine was the room that Lilith and Angela used to stay when they were little. And maybe when they come over still, you know, they sleep in their old like childhood bedroom. So yeah, but this is actually the last room that I have created for this house. So I think I'm just going to leave this voiceover right here. Let me know if you liked this video by leaving a like or leaving a comment. I very much appreciate it. Or feel free to subscribe if you want to see more of my future videos. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye!